All right, today we're going to be finding some measures of variation. The first measure of variation that we're going to talk about is range. The range is actually really easy to figure out. It is the highest number minus the lowest number. So let's try to find the range. So to find the range of this set of data, we're going to have to take the highest number, which as we're looking at is 91, and the lowest number, which is 38, and just subtract them. So 91 and 38. 91 minus 38 is 53, so my range is 53. That's the interval between the lowest and the highest number. So we can do it with just a normal set of data, or we can do it with that stem and leaf that we've learned before. So the lowest number is really easy to go ahead and figure out. It's right here, 33, looking at our key, just 33. And our highest number is on the bottom here, so 59. So we have 59 and 33 for our values, subtract them, and we get 26. And that's range. The other measure of variation that we're going to be talking about is what's called the interquartile range, the IQR. This is figured out by doing the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. And if you don't remember what the upper quartile is, it's the median of the upper numbers, or the middle part of the upper numbers. The lower quartile is the lower part, the middle of the lower numbers. This is also sometimes known as Q3 for the upper quartile and Q1 for lower quartile. They'll be used back and forth, so you need to be aware of both terminologies. So upper quartile is Q3, lower quartile is Q1. We also need to know what an outlier is. An outlier is a data point that is much bigger or smaller than the next closest data point. It's way out there. It doesn't really fit with the rest of the data points that we have. And a lot of times we have outliers, but we need to be able to recognize them. So there's some steps to go ahead and do that. First, we're going to have to find the interquartile range. Then we multiply that by 1.5. Subtract that number from Q1, the lower quartile, and also add it to the Q3 or upper quartile. This will create a new range for us. Any number that's outside those two, that range, is considered an outlier. So we're trying to go ahead and give a definition of where most of the numbers should occur. And if they're outside of that, that's considered an outlier. All right, so let's find some IQRs and some outliers. So we got to start with a data set. So here we have a data set. We're going to need to go ahead and find the middle of our data set. So we have to go ahead and order them from least to greatest. So here we go ahead and order, and we have our median. The middle right here is 36. Now when we do Q1, or the lower quartile, we're going to have to take a look at the numbers on the bottom part of this. So we have 3 numbers down here. The middle of that is going to be this 33. So that's going to be our lower quartile. On the upper side, we have to do the same thing. The middle of these 3 is 40. That's our upper quartile, or our Q3. So find the upper and lower. So LQ, lower quartile, or Q1. Upper quartile is 40, or Q3. And then we're going to have to just subtract them. 40 minus 33 is just 7, so our IQR is 7. Now let's take a look, talk about outliers. Are there any outliers here? So we're going to take that 7, multiply by 1.5, which is 10.5, subtract it from the lower quartile, giving us 22.5, and add it to the upper quartile. So we're looking for this range from 22.5 to 50.5. And if we go back, there's nothing, all these values here are between that 22 and that 50. There's nothing outside that. And so we say there are no outliers because all the data fits within a certain range. Let's try another one. This one has obviously a few more data points, which is fine. We still need to go ahead and line them up. So going from least to greatest. Now, there are 10 of them, and so there's nothing in the middle here. There's nothing in the middle, no exact value, so we have to add these two together, divide. So 19.5. Now that median still cuts the middle, so now we have 5 this way and 5 this way. The middle over here is 14, and the middle over here is 25. So lower half, lower quartile, upper quartile, 14 and 25. So to find the IQR is just subtracting those, or 11. Now to find the outliers, we're going to multiply that, 16.5, subtract it from the lower number, it's -2, and add it to the upper, and we get 41.5. So we're talking about the numbers between -2.5 and 41.5. And there is one value that is outside of that value of 49. If we want to go back to looking at this, that value here of 49. 2 is close, but it's negative, it's -2 that we came up with, right? -2.5. So because of that, only 49 is outside of that. So 49 is considered an outlier. 11 is the interquartile range. One more example. Again, a set of numbers, so 10 of them here. So here's my middle. So we have 22.5. Out of these 5, our quartile 1 is, or our lower quartile is 18, upper is 28. Gives us a value of 10 for our IQR. Figuring out our outliers, 10 times 1.5 is 15. Subtract it and add it. We're talking about 3 to 43. All these numbers are between 3 and 43. So our IQR is 10, and there are no outliers. And that's what I have for you today.